All right, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. That way we can get out of here on time and I'm not tying you up for more time than you need to. I'm gonna have you fill out a sign-in sheet for me as well. On that, there's an offer for a free TV session if anybody's interested. We'll go like that. We're being recorded, so you can't cuss at me today. All right, welcome. The Chamber of Commerce Lunch and Learn Series. Today's topic, understanding and minimizing the hidden waste that steals our time and money. I'm hoping that when you leave here today, you'll see some things that maybe you haven't thought of in a certain way. So my name is Gil Sargent. My company is Coach Gil Sargent. I've got 40 years of coaching experience if you include the kids that I've coached all the way along. Starting when I was 19, I coached a 5th grade girls volleyball team at the local YMCA in Casper, Wyoming. So that was 1977, so that's how long I've been kicking around. I have been certified as a Six Sigma Black Belt, which is used as process and quality improvement, and a certified Lean Black Belt, which is all about waste identification and elimination. I'm a certified personal coach, and I'm going to try to give you some access to some things that world-class companies use to make their business more profitable. Amazon, Toyota, Apple, Intel, and GE all have a continuous improvement culture. Okay? Personal coaching includes projects like personal growth, physical health, financial health, and career growth. Team coaching projects include sessions geared to improve team performance, understand and minimize waste to improve efficiencies and revenue, and identifying emerging leaders. Now let's go around the room, starting right here. Tell us who you are, name of your company you're representing, and the service or product that you provide.
So my name is Haley Bamsberger. I own Haley's Indigo downtown. We do gifts, and then we also do essential oils. So we do a lot of coaching on how to use them to get the best benefit.
All right.
I'm Katie Nash. I'm with Global One Media. I am their general sales manager, and we do advertising, word of mouth, actually.
All right.
Jamie Donovan with Orlo Mining. We are permitting a new gold mine south of Carlin, which is in Elko County, so super cool. We'll have 600 employees during construction and 300 during operation. And I do community relations for them.
That's all the new apartments and townhouses and condos that are being built. All right, next.
Becky Tully, and I'm with Manpower Temporary Services. I've been with them for 33 years. We staff, we help companies staff their employment needs, which is a difficult thing these days.
Yeah.
I am Christina Garcia Drake. I'm with Next Home Infinity Realty. I am a real estate expert in helping you sell and buy homes.
Thank you.
I'm Jeannie Moe. I own Moe Bubble Soap Company. We do soaps and lotions, beauty products, and cleansing.
Thank you.
I'm Debbie Giebel. I have Adventures in Chalk as my business. I'm a crafter, craft maniac. Yeah. I do instructional teaching also for the products that I sell, and just have a good time.
Thank you.
I'm Megan McCallie. I'm with the Elko Area Chamber. I am our marketing and programs coordinator.
I'm Katie Ashley. I'm also with the Elko Area Chamber, and I'm our membership coordinator.
I'm Michelle Nye. I work for Access to Healthcare, which is a nonprofit organization here in town, and we provide free transportation, resource navigation, and Medicare counseling.
I'm Phil Byer. I happen to be a pastor, and that, for starters, means I represent the church with a capital C that the Bible refers to. Locally here, I am the pastor of St. Mark Lutheran Church and Free School.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay.
My name is Tammy Crawford, and I'm currently the assistant manager at the Baymont Inn. So I assist with whatever needs assisting. Scheduling to hiring, and, interviewing and housekeeping, whatever is needed.
I'm Margaret Marcucci. I'm actually with Rural Center for Independent Living. I go and help clients with taking them, the ones that are scared to go to Medicare, Medicaid, I take them to the doctor.
Okay.
And there is also the Alzheimer's support group, which meets the first Wednesday of every month from 1 to 3 at the senior center.
All right.
That's my partner in crime, you know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm Angie Berry and I help her do whatever she
And we are all co-members of Kiwanis together.
Yes, and Kiwanis
Next
and
up down
dementia
there.
friendly and
I'm Leanna Helming and I'm with Artistic Urban Landscape where we design and install your dream yard from all landscape and concrete needs.
I'm Liz Todd with Key Marketing Solutions. I do full scope marketing with a highlight on websites. One of the best websites I've designed is Elko Community Hub, which is my other business. And so it is here not only to help you promote events, but also classes and resources and self-help.
Okay, thank you.
David Wood. I'll let her tell me. I don't know. I'm here because Gil asked me to come.
I'm Frankie Wood. I co-own Whatever It Takes, where we go out into the community and help people get connected with nonprofits and find them funding.
Very good, thank you.
Hi, I'm Courtney Villa. I work for A&H Insurance. I'm an insurance broker.
And I'm Morgan Luzier with A&H Insurance, and I am also an insurance broker with health benefits.
My name's Kathy Estridge. I'm the GM over at the Baymont.
Okay.
Like the tellers.
Very good.
I'm Dana Burwell, and I am at Guild Mortgage Company. I've been there for just over 10 years. I wear many hats there, but basically if you need to finance a mortgage, purchase, refinance, whatever, I'm with the Tara Gonzalez team.
I'm Tara Gonzalez with Guild Mortgage. And I'm her plus one today.
Very good. Thank you very much. We're glad to have you all here. Hopefully you'll get something out of today. So when we talk about waste, oftentimes people think in terms of employees taking too many smoke breaks or wasted office supplies. We're going to talk about some things that are a little deeper than that today. These things can have an impact, but typically they dwarf hidden waste that can be robbing your bottom line, and you don't even know what's going on until you dig into it a little bit. We'll be reviewing 3 categories of hidden waste this afternoon. Hidden waste in processes. This could include administrative processes, manufacturing processes, or any number of other workflow processes. Hidden waste caused by rework, and hidden waste due to a failure to leverage your business's intellectual capital, and we will get into that at the end. So the waste in a process might include overproduction ahead of demand, waiting for the next step, that's time, unnecessary transport, that's time. Inventory is more than required. As business people, you all know what it costs to carry inventory. I don't believe Nevada has a tax on inventory, but there's carrying costs and all kinds of other things that go along with inventory. Unnecessary movement by employees. So this is a batch and push processing illustration. All processes in our daily lives consist of a series of progressive steps, each one building upon the next. Above is an illustration of a batch and push manufacturing process. This could also represent a household process as simple as doing the dishes. Okay? So, each step is a process. How long to complete the first unit? If all 3 processes have to be partaken, how many minutes till the first unit's complete? Go ahead, say it loud.
10.
Actually, it's right there. See that black mark right there? So it's 10, 20, 21 minutes before the first unit is built and ready for sale, okay? How long to complete 30 units? Takes all 30 minutes, right? Takes all 30 minutes. Okay. So first of all, where's the demand in this illustration? Where's the demand at? It's over here, right? That's where the customer is over there, right? So in this scenario, this is batch and push. So regardless of demand over here, you're trying to push each of these phases through to the next. And when we talk about inventory, so that's the starting inventory, but this inventory has been built but got no place to go. This inventory has been built and got no place to go. Once there is a place to go, this one's got to be moved from here to here, and this one's got to be moved from here to here. Okay? So, the first waste in this is overproduction ahead of demand. How much does the customer want? It tells you that you may have too much inventory in between steps. Waiting for the next step. These are all examples. This part of the manufacturing is waited for process B. Process B is waiting for process C. Unnecessary transport. Is there a way to set this all up so you don't have to move this stuff twice? Inventory is more than required. So that's any inventory more than required, including material inventory, storage inventory, plus process inventory that's there before the demand is there for it. And then unnecessary movement by employees. Okay? This is a illustration of continuous flow. Make one, move one. So in this one, they've rearranged the processes so that they're right next together. So even if A is faster than B, they can't go any faster than B goes. And B can't go any faster than C goes, and C can't produce anything until there's some demand here. So, how long to complete the first unit? Where's the first black mark?
3.
1, 2. First unit's ready in 3 minutes. That means the first unit's ready for sale in 3 minutes. Okay? How long to complete 30 units?
Is that 30?
Huh?
30 minutes?
Close.
33.
Huh?
33.
Nope. So if we count, if we count these minutes off, this is minute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The first unit's ready in 12 minutes. What was the first unit? What was the first unit ready in the first demonstration? 21 minutes. So now we've cut the amount of time before we can sell the first unit. We've cut that down almost in half. So, batch processing versus continuous flow. 21 minutes to complete the first unit, 30 minutes to complete 30 units. And what batch and push tends to do is it tends to silo everything up. So this person's only concerned about making whatever number of units that they're responsible for making. So everybody's in their own silo without any regard to demand here at the back. Continuous flow. 3 minutes to make the first one, 12 minutes to make all of them. So I misspoke, I said half, so this is 1/7 the time to complete the first unit. And this is almost a third the time to complete 30, okay? So how do batch and push and continuous flow translate to our personal lives? Does anyone have a real world example of a continuous flow processing? Do you think of anything that matches that? All right, I've got one you all know. How about the drive-through at McDonald's? Okay? The drive-through at McDonald's, you order there, you pay there, you get your food there. And at McDonald's, they've also recognized that the ordering process is the most timely. So at McDonald's, they have 2 places to order, right? In addition, most of the other places have tried this, like Burger King, but they've gone back to combining those 2 processes. But McDonald's always has a cashier. One thing that does for them, as you're moving through this process, even if Burger King, which they never do, but even if they were able to produce the food as fast as McDonald's, you still feel like you're waiting because you're doing both of these things here. Everybody understand that? Whereas in this process with McDonald's, you're always moving to the next process. It doesn't seem that long. Okay? By the way, what are they processing?
Your order?
Processing your order, yeah. They're making
All
food.
beef
But
patties, specials. Is that McDonald's?
Yeah.
here's what they're really processing. They're processing the separation of you from your money. That's what they're doing. That's their whole purpose in life. They want to do it fast, and they want to do it faster than everybody else. They have metrics that measure that fastness, and it just becomes part of their culture. Right? Other people compete with them on speed, or on cost, price sometimes, but rarely do you see any outfit that's making fast food faster than McDonald's. Okay? How else might batch and push translate to our personal lives? A process in our daily lives consists of a series of progressive steps, each building on the next. So how might that work in our personal lives? Anybody have an example from their personal life?
I don't know if it's like what you're talking, I think it is, but like in real estate, we have to like set appointments, right? So then we call, we get everything scheduled, 'cause
Right.
we have to, and then driving, we have to make sure our timing's on track for the next house.
Right.
So we do timing, we have to do our timing, and then the showings of the house, and then the process of helping them do their contracts.
Right. Batch and push would be, I'm going to set the appointments first,
Yes.
then I'm going to drive there next, and then I'm going to wait for the customer to show up, the client to show up. Okay? Here's an example that I think you might recognize. Let's take a look at how the dishes are done in many households. Okay? What if this were the kitchen sink? And what if that were the dishwasher? And what if this were your cupboards or your drain board, strainer? So how long, now most people, especially if they're older, have figured out a way to make this, expedite this, right? But in your worst case scenario when you were younger, everybody piles their dishes in the sink, right? Until you get them trained to put them in the dishwasher at least.
No, they pile them in their room until you find it.
I got a grandson.
That's right, Gil.
I got a grandson that's added another process to this that is exactly that. He will not bring a cup out of his room until all the cups in the house are gone. So, how long do they sit in the sink?
Until you're motivated.
We all have this thing in our head. We have to be efficient with water. So we got to make sure there's a full load for that dishwasher. So we let those sit in that sink until there's a full load for the dishwasher, right? But would you pay $10 extra a week if you get an hour back a week? It'd be easy, right? To heck with water efficiency in a dishwasher, I say. Okay, so they sit for, I don't know, they might sit for a couple hours, they might sit for a day, all right? But by the time you move them, there's a whole bunch of them to move. Then you got to move them over here into the dishwasher, right? Then you turn it on, and how long does the dishwasher take? Some take 40 minutes, some take an hour, depending on what setting you got, right? And then after that, you've got a whole bunch in the dishwasher, and those those have to be moved into either the strainer or the cupboards, alright?
But you have to be motivated to do that.
Okay. So, there's a lot of time to get some dishes done. But if you could turn it into a continuous flow process, and my wife and I have had this discussion ever since I learned this 15 years ago. And for some reason, my wife never thought it would work for the kids. But she does not have the same consideration for me, so we now do it this way. What if at the end of each meal there were a sink full of warm dishwater, and husband Harold and Prince Tommy and Precious Gloria all got up from the table and washed, one at a time, washed their plate, glass, and silverware, and put it in the strainer, or even dried it and put away? How much time would that save, whoever does the dishes in your house, how much time would that save in your day-to-day? It would eliminate all of that batching, it would eliminate all of that batching, and it would eliminate all of that batching. And you would distribute that load among several people, and it's just a short amount of time. It's what, 2 minutes to do that? But you gotta get over this thought that I've gotta have a full load for my dishwasher, because that's inefficient if I just wash 2 cups or whatever, right? But what if everybody were helping out? Now, then mom or dad, whoever does the dishes, is just left with pots and pans. Mom had a pot and a pan left on the stove to do. How much trouble would it be to just, after they were all done, to just wash your pots and pans, right? Okay. Thinking in terms of time, how much unpaid labor would a continuous flow process, say mom or dad, each day, each week, each month, each year? Is there some time you would like back from just a simple process like doing the dishes? Now, to do it, I will concede that just like teaching your kids how to sit in a car seat starting when they're 1 day old and they just get used to it. When I was growing up, you'd have tried to stick a seatbelt on me when I was a teenager, I'd have had a complete revolution, right? How many can remember those days? We didn't want to wear seatbelts. How many watch a child get in a car seat now and just fall asleep?
Oh, yes.
They're just so used to it, right? So you'd have to start people early on something like this, but it could be done and it would save you all of that extra time. All right, any questions on waste in processes? Okay, next up we're going to talk about waste that might result in rework. How are we doing on time? Where are we at?
12:28.
12:30. We're doing good.
I got a question on this, and it must be a question I ask way too often when I'm trying to learn something. I'm presuming, are we to presume, we all know what the end product or the end result is supposed to be?
Most of the time, but most of the time the end product is not related to efficiency, or we don't think of it in terms of efficiency.
Well, I would add to that, part of the reason for the question is a lot of times when, whether it's one person or 50 people, when they don't know the mission, the outcome, I guess I'll just say it's easy to waste a lot of time.
It's easy to waste a lot of time, and it's got to be a conversation ahead of time. As part of this project, it's not just going to be about this project, it's going to be about doing this project in a way that we use the least amount of time. Especially for volunteers, right? Volunteers, I was talking to Frankie here a while ago, and she was telling me all the stuff's going on, and I said, you and I are going to practice now here. You ready? Okay, follow me. No. Volunteers have a hard time saying no, because you got friends that you want to help out, right?
But
You got to learn how to say
You
no.
gotta learn that.
You got to learn that.
And
It's
you gotta
very difficult.
keep that thing there, because I get calls from my clients all the time, and it's an emergency, and what is it first? Then I'll decide if it's an emergency.
Yeah, because to them,
Everything is.
everything's an emergency, and some of that may be they just want to visit with somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Appreciate you fielding that question because of where you're going. When you start to say, where is there waste in the system?
Right. If we don't know to look for it, we look at cigarette breaks, and we look at wasted office supplies. And that amount of money is infinitesimal. It's just this big compared to people's time, both voluntary time and paid time. So, 2 types of hidden waste that might result from rework. Waste caused by a failure to maintain quality, resulting in the loss of sales. How many here can speak to quality losses that you've had? Anybody seen it? Okay. Waste caused by failure to eliminate recurring quality issues, resulting in additional labor, costs, and loss of sales. You have your hand up. You seen that? Okay. So, back in the 40s and 50s and early 60s, there was a company called Toyota in Japan. They'd come out of World War II. They were doing pretty well. The United States was paying for all of Japan's military and was making sure that Japan rebounded. And a fellow named Chichiro Toyoda, Toyoda, was the head of the Toyota car company. His dad had made an offset from 1914. They did looms and something else, and passed along this car company to his boy. And in the 50s and early 60s, they decided to start competing in the United States. And as you may know, whenever you bring a car into this country, the tariff on that car is either from 5 to 25%, depending on what kind of car it is and that kind of thing. So they're already competing from a deficit, right? They've already got to be 5 to 25% cheaper than the US cars, or they can't compete. So they sent a guy, actually there was a guy named W. Edwards Deming that worked for Ford, and he's been trying to tell them about waste a long time, and they wouldn't listen. But the Japanese wanted to compete, and they said, yeah, we'll listen to your ideas. So he analyzed the American assembly line, and in the American assembly line, you have these lines that go, the workflow is here, but the number one priority is that the line has to keep moving. So the US companies put in a rework area. So never shut the line down, send it to the rework area, okay? So only the line manager can shut down the line. Don't stop if there's a defect, send all the defects to the rework area, okay? But you can look at it from a glance. There's a certain percentage of resources that are tied up in that rework area, right? Performance statistics. The line run time's 90%. 20% of the plant area is devoted to rework. 25% of the plant labor is devoted to rework. The Japanese looked at that and they said, wait a minute. Our tariff costs are 5 to 25%. Look at that right there. What can we do to compete? So here's what W. Edwards Deming came up with. Well, first of all, if you're performing to a 90% goal, everybody says, oh, we get it 90%. Everybody thinks that's a great number, right? 90% of the time. Let's look at that. That means there's 20 unsafe landings per day at most major airports. Unsafe landings, okay? 5,000 incorrect surgical operations per week. 160,000 lost pieces of mail every day. And for you, 75 hours each month with no electricity. And 75 hours each month of unsafe drinking water. So how about it? Is 90% pretty good? Think you'd live with 90% at the ATM? I don't think anybody uses ATM, would we? Okay, so Toyota did a thing, and they said, okay, here's how we're going to fix it. There's some pull cords on the side of the line right here. And anyone on the line that sees a defect is empowered to shut the line down. What happens when somebody shuts the line down? Everything stops. So, whoops. Let's say this person pulled the cord. This person stopped, this person stopped, this person stopped, this person stopped, that person stopped. What do you suppose happened after that? Everybody wanted to keep working. So what happened? Everybody figured out how to eliminate the defect. So here's how the Toyota, now the Americans have copied this since the 70s and 80s, but when they were starting to compete, this is what the numbers were. The line runtime was 99%, and they did not build areas for rework for one thing, and they didn't have much labor involved in rework. So when you have quality issues in your business, it costs you money, and that's waste that you can do without, right? But you have to think about it, you have to analyze it, you have to get rid of it. So an employee goes to grab an item and finds that it's not located where it's normally stored. So you go to the tool room, or you go to the office cubby, or whatever. Whatever you're there for isn't there. So how much time does it take to work around that issue? Might be 2 minutes, might be 10 minutes, might shut the job down. In Dave's case, might shut the job down for an hour. So, if it's not fixed, how many times will multiple employees have to work around the same issue? I go to find it's not there, so I go do a workaround. Dave goes to find it's not there. Michelle goes to find it's not there. She's got to do a workaround. All right? Who pays for the employee's wasted time in this example?
The employer.
Huh?
The employer.
Anybody else?
The customer.
Huh?
Whoever gets your product at the end.
The customer pays for it. You're not going to pay for that. You're going to build that into your price. And then what happens? You're not as competitive anymore, right? Because you're building in waste that you've got to pay for, the customer's got to pay for. Now, some of it is probably the important.
Walmart about this right here.
Huh?
You should go to Walmart and talk to them about this right here.
Well, that
drives me nuts.
That's what Coach Gil Sargent's here to do, so I hope they call.
I go in there and
Okay.
spend 3 hours because nothing is ever where it was the last time I was there.
That's almost every place you go anymore.
But if I was getting into business, and I knew that was a customer's concern, and I knew I couldn't compete with Walmart's prices, I'd think in terms of how can I build a business where every time somebody comes to me, they get what they need, when they need it, for as good a price as I can give it.
But then you wouldn't walk around and see other things you might.
What's that?
I said then you wouldn't walk around and see other things that you might need.
There you go, save you money too.
That you don't need, you just
want.
want.
So, is the issue ignored completely, or is it batched and sent to a rework area for someone else to deal with? Now, in the industrial world, what we have is we have work orders or job tickets. So our rework area, it's written down on a ticket for some supervisor to do. What do you think happens to those job tickets that have all that stuff on there? The number one thing you hear in any industrial site, residential construction, anything like that, well, I wrote it down, but nobody did anything about it. It's because it didn't shut the job down, so they don't fix it. And so then every time it comes up, another employee loses money for the same thing. Same thing if you go to the warehouse and there's not material for the job or something's out of stock. Same questions. It's just paid for over and over and over and over, and it's part of the cost of doing business, and it never gets fixed. Whereas, if you're looking for waste, and you recognize what that's doing to your bottom line, and what it's doing to keep you from competing with customers, then you may have a better chance at it. So, those are the two differences, 90% runtime versus 99, and very few resources on wood. Okay? Now we're going to talk about any questions about rework and hidden waste in rework before we move on. Okay. Next thing we're going to talk about is a failure to leverage intellectual capital. And anybody tell me what I'm talking about there? What's intellectual capital? That is...
I hope it's an opportunity.
It certainly is. Intellectual capital is the value of each employee's knowledge base, including skills, process training, leadership training, or any proprietary information gained through experience and time on the job that may provide the company with competitive advantage. So, for example, you're in the manpower business, right? So for you, turnover may have some benefits. But for the person that's hiring from you, they lose this every time they start over. So there's no saying, hire slow and fire fast. Be careful who you hire. You want to get the right people and get rid of them quick. I had a boss teach me a long time ago. There's one rule when you're dealing with people. Change the man or change the man. Which means either get them on board or find somebody that will get on board. Intellectual capital. If you lose an employee or fail to leverage the intellectual capital they possess, the business will suffer losses because that capital is providing you a competitive advantage. Any comments on that?
I'd like to withdraw my outburst. Enthusiastic as it was. So intellectual capital is more, you gotta know your stuff, you gotta be experienced, and then I'll add that the opportunities are there. In other words, I think of that.
Right.
Didn't think of that at first.
So the problem with this is with that intellectual capital comes 1,000,001 different types of personalities you have to deal with as an employer, right? You're trying to mine that capital, but you're trying to mine it through this guy that'd walk through fire for you, and this guy that wouldn't give 2 cents if you were to fall off a bridge. But still, they have information there that can give you a competitive advantage.
I was lacking.
So what do employees want from their jobs?
Wasn't that?
What do we want? When we go to work, what do we need? What needs are we wanting to fulfill? Anybody? What do we gotta have?
Appreciation.
We gotta have some appreciation. We gotta have some dough. We gotta be able to support the family, right? So on the bottom, employees want to have a sense of security, personal and family security. That's the base of what every employee needs. That is the bottom stone. Then they want a sense of belonging and connection at work. Everybody wants to feel part of something. Even the really ornery ones that you have a real hard time getting along with. Employees want to feel valued and respected for their contribution, right? How many here want to feel valued for their contribution? How many people here make the amount of money I get first and how I feel valued last? Anybody? Now, if that were the case, you'd be moving jobs all the time. Employees want an opportunity to be more. They don't want you to assume that what you see right now is all you can be. In fact, a lot of very famous stories about people that started with humble beginnings that ended up in very great places. Sam Walmart being one of them, right? One of the greatest corporations in the world, started from a little guy that had a little general store in Bentonville, Arkansas. So employees want a sense of security, personal and family security. So what's it take to get that? They need wages for their services. And they need a belief that they're working for a company that can succeed. Now, can anybody tell me what the definition of morale is? You hear it all the time. Low company morale. What's the definition of morale? Say it a little louder.
Like personality and like not being there to like the support for your employees.
Okay, who can add to that? Yeah.
A happy crew is a productive crew. So if your morale's low, it transitions into low productions, higher costs.
Since I invited you here, I'm going to pick on you. Okay. If morale were about happiness, would any soldier in an army, in a foxhole, ever have high morale?
No.
They're not happy to be in the mud, right? Morale is not about happiness. It's not about having a great coffee pot that I can use for free. It's not about getting free lunch. I've defined morale for you already. A belief that they're working for a company that can succeed. That soldier in the foxhole can have my high morale if he believes or she believes that their leadership can lead them to success and they've got a chance to get out of there. That's what can lead to high morale. You're not necessarily going to be happy, but you've got this belief that you can succeed. Employees want a sense of belonging and connection. And to do that, you have to team for success. You have to have conversations with your employees about I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Mine?
Yeah.
Phil.
Phil? Exactly what Phil was talking about. They have to feel like they're part of that connection. Employees want to feel valued and respected for their contribution. Another thing where teaming is great. And employees want an opportunity to be more. There are certain employees that are the best paid and seemingly the happiest and seemingly the best at what they do that leave the company simply because nobody ever investigates what their potential might be. Okay? Which is difficult in companies because there's only so many spots at the top, right? So it's tough to pass that around. Waste is a result of failing to leverage your employees' intellectual capitals. Most employees will work hard for their wages and will care about company inefficiencies and loss until they feel that their employer does not respect their opinion, does not value their contribution, and does not really want to or know how to build a successful organization. How many people here have ever worked for a company or a person that just didn't know what they were doing and it was so frustrating? Anybody ever worked for somebody like that? It's just frustrating when you got it in your mind that you know more than what, you know, not necessarily you know more than what they know, but you know what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it. Employees want to work for a winner and will contribute to their success if the business will keep people informed, keep people involved, keep people interested, and keep people inspired. In this labor market, these are the new age key performance indicators. These are the KPIs, the people KPIs, that you need to consider so that you don't have a drain on their intellectual capital. Companies that want to continually improve performance strive to satisfy these employee needs. That's why I offer business teaming sessions that will help you, not only help you identify and eliminate waste, but these teaming sessions, I don't think people understand. Employees feel rewarded when they get to be part of a teaming session, when they get to be part of a solution.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can you go back to the last slide real quick? I missed something on there. Interested and inspired. Thank you.
Yeah. Got it?
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. So, I do team building exercises, opportunities for improvement exercises. I usually do this one in the first session. Usually we get to know who each other are, and we also try to tap into this and figure out what some of these are. Barriers to improvement exercises. So sometimes we don't do things simply because they're hard to do. We need to figure out first, if we're going to do them, what the barriers are. In addition to that, we always do a value versus effort assessment. You don't want to do everything on a suggestion list because some of the value is not adequate for the effort you've got to put into it. So what you want to do is low effort, high value first. And then you start working yourself toward lower value. But when you get to no value, that's when you stop. Okay? Action planning exercises and project execution tracking. So here's a project that I did, and this is hard to read. This is a project I did with a team at Leeville 14 years ago. And we did all of the things we talked about today. We looked for waste. We looked for processes that were out of whack. We looked for bottlenecks that were holding up the process. And when we were all done, this was a big project. So there were probably 8 projects total. 2 of them I'm going to show you, but the whole thing probably took 13 months. We increased the tons, 190,000 tons a year, which was 13%. That was a big number. 31,000 ounces, which was almost 6%. Mining costs dropped from 91.54 to 82.62. So not only did we make more tons, we made them for less dollars per ton. The incremental cost for those tons, whenever you add some things, when you're trying to improve, sometimes it costs you money. That incremental cost was $14.48. Project cost for that 13 months was less than $175,000, and the net value creation over 3 years was $27 million. Just by looking at what we were doing. And if you use this $2,300 an ounce number that we've got now, that'd be $73,000 over 3 years. This was the maintenance chart. So this is an availability chart. So in 2009, bolters were down about 68%, muckers were at 62, trucks were at 71, and the fleet was right at 70%. When we got all done, we measured it twice, January through March and then April through December. When we got all done, we've gained 7.4% in bolters, almost 6% in muckers, 8% in trucks, and our overall availability was 4.5%. So if you've got your equipment more available, what's that mean? Costs go down, tons go up, right? While the numbers may be smaller, the improvement percentages are typically similar. Okay, you're not going to make $27 million over 3 years in this room, I would guess, but your percentages may be similar. So that's why I'm offering a free 2-hour session for your team. I have a sign-up sheet going around. If everybody could sign up on that, and there's actually two. There's the chambers, and then there's mine. Mine has a place for you to sign up for a teaming session. Together we'll build a customized session that your team will find enjoyable and rewarding, trying to hit those KPIs, and it will help you discover where the opportunities for your improvement are in your business. I'm also available for personal coaching, so if you know a friend or a friend's got a kid that needs some coaching or help, I'm available for that. And with that, does anybody have any questions? Yes?
I'm curious on what you just offered. And by the way, I said, yeah, I'd love to consider this. Here's the question. Would you consider it worthwhile if your team is just trying to get something new started versus coaching in an existing functioning business? So I'm just curious how you want to feel that.
It all depends on what you would feel valuable, one, and two, here's what I bring to that. You have something you want done. Now, here's the thing, I am not a consultant. I do not give anybody answers. The answers are within you. But I'm pretty good at getting people to figure out what their own answers are. So we would go through things like, what are the barriers to getting this done, this new thing done? And then what's the value of it versus the effort? You first want to know whether or not you're putting in a whole lot of effort, but going to get very little value. So you first would have to define what's that value for you and your situation. What's that value? And I don't know what that might be. But you go through the process that GE goes through, and Intel goes through, and Apple goes through, and Amazon goes through to get to the back end of your solution.
Good answer. Yeah, it's kind of like coaching and entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So that's why I wanted to ask.
Yep, coaching and not consulting. I have no answer.
Good point.
Any
I
other
appreciate that. I guess I'll just say the huge difference when you discover the difference between your coach and what the coach is not going to answer your question. Draws it out of you, helps you answer, like you said, some of these questions that maybe are hindrance versus a mentor, you might say, or just like consultant.
I've been a football guy all my whole life. 20 years ago, my daughter wanted to play softball. And if you've ever been around a kid, then you want to make sure they're doing the best they can do, you coach. But I didn't know nothing about softball. But what I did know was how to help her find out about it.
Good point.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I sure appreciate you coming. This is a great turnout. And thank you very much. And I hope that you have found something in this for your business. Thanks a lot.
Thank